you've all probably heard me talk about how I am totally guilty of getting way too worried and concerned about my partner and what, you know, his stress, whatever stress is going on in his life, and, you know, oscillating between going into my masculine fix-it mode, like, let me fix the problem, or going into let me worry about it, or going into victim mode of why the fuck do you have to have so many damn problems and impact my day? Like, why can't you just keep your energy over there and have a bad day by yourself? Why you got to put it on me, right? Which, of course, he's not doing intentionally or often even at all. Usually it's me kind of absorbing. And interestingly, for me, it's really like the last relationship in my life where I really have to work this a lot. 20 plus years ago, it was every single human on the planet, and I narrowed that down to just my romantic partner, person who's like in my space all the time. So I play with this really, really, really cool concept. It makes a really big impact for me. Before I share that with you, I read Dr. Sarah Gottfried's book, The Hormone Cure, is an amazing book about women's hormones. And I was reading it the other night and reviewing a section on stress and cortisol and adrenaline. And in it, she said that there was a study that was done, and it was one of those studies that says that women have more stress or more chronic stress than men, or maybe it was that it impacts them worse, I forget. Maybe more stress-related illnesses, something like that. And in the study, they found that when a man or a woman have stress in their job or in their life, they feel stressed about it. But when a woman's husband has stress in his life or his job, she is stressed about it. And the opposite is not true. Meaning, as women, we're stressed when our lives are stressful, like when our work isn't going well or whatever. And we're also stressed when our husband's work isn't going well. And I've been pondering that. I said it to Brendan, to my boyfriend, and he was like, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I don't know. He didn't say it was bullshit. He said it was like an oversimplification or something. And I said, yeah, I do agree that part of it has to do with being an empath. Women tend to be, I'm going to catch myself from saying that. I would say women are more outwardly or more tapped into being empaths. I almost said they're more commonly empaths, but I don't actually know that that's true. It may just be that we are more plugged into it. So I also, though, I've been really chewing on this, and I think there is part of it that is associated with our, like our reptilian brain or our cave woman brain. Because women are oftentimes, and of course these are great generalizations, so bear with me in that regard, oftentimes women are the peacekeepers, right? Partially just because we don't usually have the brute strength nor the hormonal drive to just fight our way through everything. Sometimes, certainly, but oftentimes, like, we have to figure out a way to keep the peace. And men are in the cave womanist or caveman-esque versions of ourselves, like the very, very primitive versions of ourselves. Men are the protectors and providers, right? They're the one who are going to like drag a gazelle into the camp or fend off, bad guys. So when something is wrong with our protector or provider, I think it can sometimes stimulate that like danger response in our system. And, you know, we don't want to admit this because we're grown-ass women living in a modern culture where we take care of ourselves and we don't need to mother our partners and we don't need them to protect us and provide for us and any of that. And also, there's the cave woman part of us that's like, wait a minute, if you're not okay, does that mean I'm not okay? Does that mean I'm not going to be protected? Does that mean, you know, are you going to go away? Are you going to die? Are you going to whatever? Are you not strong enough? Are you XYZ? Some, you know, whatever we've got going on in there, in the animalistic part of our brain. So I think there's a really multifaceted, complex thing that happens for us when our partners are struggling. And this could be the case in both directions. My boyfriend and I have explored this with each other in like, how are we doing when one of us is struggling? And we both struggle. He's very empathic. We both struggle when the other person is struggling, or that's an oversimplification. We both have to work really hard if the other person is struggling. And he's been a great teacher for me because what I've witnessed is that if I'm struggling, he doesn't worry about me unless he actually thinks that he's the problem, in which case it feels like it's eating him alive. But as long as he doesn't think he caused it, he, for the most part, is like, she's got this. And he wants to help or he wants to fix it. But for the most part, he's like, Cara's got this. And he'll check in and he'll give me a hug and he'll like be present. But mostly he's like, yeah, you can handle anything. And I have to sit in the honesty of what's the message I'm actually projecting, because it sure as shit isn't that a lot of the time. Now that I've been working on it, that's what I'm projecting a lot more. But previously, most of the time, what I was projecting is, I don't think you've got this, right? Because I was worried and I was feeling like I needed to fix it, or I needed help, or he needed to do something differently. And if he would just see it this way, maybe he would get over it and then I could mellow out and feel better. So what I've been practicing for the last, year or something, and it's been really phenomenal, is that I remind myself, I trust him. I trust him. And sometimes, actually really, 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 mostly at the beginning, what it meant was I trust his higher self, I trust his process, and I trust in what he's creating for himself. So this is super easy for me to do with my clients because I practiced it so much. And because I'm standing in a different, I'm wearing a different hat. But I can stand almost all the time while my clients are in the middle of struggle or breakdown or, something really, really awful. And I can offer support and guidance and assistance and everything else, but I don't feel the need to fix them ever. And I can be lovingly concerned, but I don't ever worry because I trust. I know their higher self and I trust their pattern and their system. And what I mean by that is when I step back or when I talk to their higher self, I can see that they're creating everything they're creating for a really friggin' good reason. And that what they're going to get out of it is going to be worth it 1,000-fold. So we put these challenges on our path, these dragons or these, that we've got to slay, or the obstacles we have to overcome, the hurdles we have to jump. And then when we do, or when we quote unquote fail miserably and have to do it again and have to whatever, it's all there for a very specific reason. It's helping us become the next version of the person we want to become. And that I know into the core of who I am. I know it. I know it, I know it, I know it. So when I remind myself I trust him, what I'm really saying is I trust all of that. And it helps to take me out of the short term. So we get so caught up in, especially with our partners, because we see them every day, for the most part, we get caught up in how slowly we think they're changing. And it's not helpful. It's why in my relationship alchemy course, they really teach people how to see the other person's change, which is not something that we naturally know how to do at all, or even allow for it. We don't naturally know how to allow for someone else's change. So when we're looking for it, when we remind ourselves, I trust this person, I trust it, at least I trust their higher self, there's this pan back that happens. At least for me, it's this pan back to the overview of, okay, this is all part of the journey. This is all part of getting him towards his next version. This is all part of and when I remind myself of that now, at the beginning, I had to fight it a little bit. I was like, I trust him with gritted teeth, and I had to work it. But now I've been practicing it long enough that it drops me in almost instantly, almost every time. Sometimes I might be a little grudging, a little annoyed, I'm having my tantrum or something. But mostly, as soon as I say it, I remember, oh, yeah. And I also, now that I've practiced it for a while and I have all this proof, I also think to myself, of all the proof that I have, I trust him, and then my brain is automatically like, oh, yeah. There's been evidence of that. And my brain switches gears from showing me, oh my God, he's doing the same bullshit thing again, to, oh yeah, think about all the evidence. Remember where he was at a year ago, 2 years ago. Remember where he was at about this whole one specific topic he stressed about 3 months ago. Look at all the growth. My brain can change gears now that it's practiced, because we've worn the path in that direction now.